Muslims around the world are celebrating Eid al-Adha. The annual festival is an opportunity for families to come together to share meat. In Tunisia, however, many Muslims are balking at the high cost of sheep. Consumers are struggling to make ends meet, and splurging on the luxuries associated with this religious festival has become a burden. CGTN's Adnen Chaouachi has this report from Tunis.
This is one of the 136 public sacrificial sheep markets in Tunisia. Here, the prices are displayed and the herds are controlled by veterinarians to prevent the selling and distribution of smuggled lambs.
Thousands of animals have been smuggled from neighboring countries. Animal trafficking is a serious issue in our region. The animals may bring disease. Therefore, we are here to ensure good herd health and to inform Tunisian customers.
Many consumers have complained about the skyrocketing price of animals ahead of Eid al-Adha.
The middle class has a low purchasing power. We cannot afford to buy a lamb because it's too expensive in the period. One must wait for the last day. The prices may go down.
Farmers and livestock breeders say that the cost of feed and transportation has increased by 25% in recent months.
Rearing and transporting animals is very expensive. Selling at a loss will affect our business. Controlling the prices is the responsibility of the state.
The Minister of Agriculture visited a sheep market in the south of the capital city Tunis. Samir Bittayib listened carefully to the traders and the consumers.
The price is high at private markets where there is a lack or a total absence of control. However, it is affordable at public markets. We have provided over 400,000 animals to control the sacrificial sheep price.
The Ministry of Social Affairs has been criticized for providing 50 dinars, which is around $18, to help the poor and needy families in a country where a one-year-old sheep costs about $300. Despite the skyrocketing prices of animals in the capital city Tunis, as well as in the inner regions, millions of families, especially those who have children, will buy the sacrificial sheep. Buying the animal is not a religious obligation if one cannot afford. It is rather a tradition that people here like to revive every year. Adnen Chaouachi, CGTN, Tunis.
Let's go live to Egypt's capital, Cairo now, where CGTN's Yasser Hakim is standing by with a wrap on Eid celebrations in that part of the continent. Yasser, Eid Mubarak to you, and thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with celebrations in your part of the world. Give us a rundown of the day's highlights.
Thank you very much. And it starts with the morning prayers. It's called the Eid al-Adha prayers. It's in the early morning hours where millions of Muslims would start their prayers in the streets and around the mosques, because the mosque could not take all these huge numbers. Women, children also are praying in the morning in the Eid prayers. And after that, they will all move around the country in the streets to enjoy their breakfast. And the parks, the weather is fine, and then comes, like you've seen in the report now, by the slaughter part, where they take the sheep, the ones who are able to afford to buy sheep or livestock, and they kind of slaughter it, and it's not just for their own, it's distributed to the poor. 2/3, according to the religion, 2/3 goes to the relatives and to the poor people, and only 1/3 remains for the household. Most of the Muslims, though, they only distribute most of the the livestock, and sometimes even all of it, leaving nothing for themselves. And this is meant for the poor to enjoy the expensive meat, because meat in most of North Africa and the Muslim world is kind of an expensive commodity and is not affordable by many. And therefore, the whole idea is to share the joy and the fun and the meat, the traditional food of the Eid, together. And the rest of the day is obviously gatherings in the weekends and the holidays for the friends and families together. obviously the heat and so forth, people travel to the beach areas and cities to enjoy the beaches and the sun and the sea during the few days, especially that countries like Egypt, it's a 10-day vacation, not just 3 days as usual.
So indeed a day of celebration in which is quite special, as you mentioned, that nobody goes hungry. That is something that is quite unique about this particular religious festival. And of course, Yasser, you know, we see Islam feature in mainstream media, but how would you say festivals like this, occasions like this, change the perception of Islam around the world?
Yes, the Islamophobia that has been hanging around the world in the last decade or so is far away from the real Islam, and what we see in events like Eid al-Adha, like in Ramadan, like in the Hajj, the pilgrimage right now, all people are obliged to wear one type of cloth, which is the white cloth, to show the sign of unity. There's no difference between rich and poor, old or young. And there are no classes. All the divisions we see in the real life now, sectarianism, divisions in sects, in power, in the financial means, and obviously the high number of poor people in the world and in the Muslim world as well, because of the economic restraints and the wars that have been taking place in the last few years, is far off from the real Islam, which is always calling for people to help each other, to stand by the poor, to try to bridge the divide. This is something we see a lot during the events like al-Eid, like Ramadan, like al-Hajj, where this is quite apparent, the unity. But what Islam wants is that this takes place throughout the year and all the time, not just in certain events or certain months of the year. And this is what it is calling for Muslims to do all through every day in life, to help each other and to stand by each other, especially in the tough times that the Islamic world is going through now.
Well, thank you so much, Yasser Hakim, and do enjoy the rest of your Eid celebrations.